Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Saturday evening, March 2, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Leave a comment down below letting me know what that's been like in your year recently. Also feel free to ask any other related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can see that the southern and eastern United States is still being plagued by numerous stationary fronts. We can also see that the Atlantic is still being dominated by ridges of high pressure that are responsible for sending all of those easterly trade winds with the saran dust from Africa into the main development region, and some easterly trade winds across the central and western Caribbean as well. And we can see it all even better on the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down. We can see the clouds associated with the cold or stationary front across portions of the southeastern United States, the Gulf of Mexico. We can also see a lot of low-level clouds pushing from east to west across the Caribbean in that flow of easterly trade wind, all courtesy of that high pressure. And we can also see that we still have numerous troughs lingering right there to the north of the main development region. We even saw the trough on the surface map right here as represented by those broken orange lines. We'll be talking more about the Caribbean's weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Saturday, March 2. It was stated that sections of northern and eastern Jamaica would have received some morning rainfall, and then affecting sections of some northern and western parishes during the afternoon. And for your information, we know northern parishes, we're talking about Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. And we know central and western parishes. Central parishes, we're talking about Middlesex, St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. Western parishes, we're talking about St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, and we indeed got in on that rainfall across western Jamaica and northern Jamaica, but more so central parishes in Jamaica got in on that afternoon rainfall. But let us take a look. So at first, this morning at 5:45 a.m. a post is made on our Twitter page. Keep in mind that these posts aren't only made on our Twitter page. So if you have one of these other social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us. We're at Instagram at weather.jamaica, we're at TikTok at weather Jamaica, we're at Facebook at weather Jamaica 876. And we saw that those clouds that brought overcast skies and rainfall to sections of northern Jamaica and the eastern Jamaica in the morning actually made their way westward, spilled into sections of some central and even western parishes as well, and brought some amount of light to moderate rainfall. Even by 12:56 p.m., we saw the live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel. If you don't know by now, I have a partnership with that YouTube channel. They actually show live streams of the corporate area, Crossroads, Halfway Tree, the Kingston Harbor, and a lot more. So feel free to subscribe to their channel and see streams like this. And we saw that at 12:56 p.m. we had some amount of rainfall taking place in Halfway Tree. We see persons walking with their umbrella. We see windshield wipers definitely spinning away. We definitely got on some amount of rainfall across the area during that time. And even by 4:15 we saw that we were still getting in on some amount of overcast skies and isolated shore activity across sections of some central and western parishes. So right there we saw those clouds still pushing from east to west across the island, definitely across sections of St. Elizabeth, Trelawney, sections of Westmoreland, Hanover got in on some of the action as well. And we even have confirmation from some of our followers on our Twitter page. DIY Barbie stating moderate or light rain in Portmore. Ricardo James stating moderate rainfall in Kingston Eastern. Even on our Instagram page, we had our followers confirming the rainfall in their area. Banner Paula _ the _ frozen _ one stating raining Hot Diva 114 stating light rain in Portmore. Cherise Well stating just overcast in Twickenham Park. SDH Bear stating it just stopped raining. So that indeed confirms the rainfall. And if we take a look at the live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, we don't see anything right now. We can see that it definitely rained. The ground kind of looks wet in a sense, but we don't see anyone walking with umbrella. We don't see any windshield wipers on at this time. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can see where we had that flow coming in from the east across the island, that low level wind flow that brought the low level clouds, and then we had those clouds being pushed from east to west. Definitely brought some amount of rainfall to sections of western Jamaica during the afternoon. So definitely sections of Hanover, maybe eastern Hanover still getting in on the action. If we take a look at the latest infrared satellite images, because as we can see the sun was going down, so the visible satellite images aren't being shown properly, we can still see that we still have some amount of cloud cover across sections of central and western Jamaica, maybe getting in on some isolated showers as we speak. If we take a look at the Cuban Doppler radar images right now, let's reload these images so that we have the latest. We can see some amount of greens, maybe representing some light to moderate rainfall taking place across western Jamaica. If not, this could be the glitch that's referred to as ground clutter, so it might not be the rainfall that we think we see on the satellite images. Either way, it must be raining somewhere. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can tell we have 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston. And by about 3 a.m. on Sunday, temperature should dip down to about 21 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 22 degrees Celsius in Kingston. As it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can see that 18th day on Sunday by the GFS, which is actually 1 p.m. on Sunday, is showing Jamaica embedded in some yellows. And we can see that by the key on the right, the yellows are representative of at least 1 degree Celsius above normal temperatures. I know the normal temperatures for the month of March across Jamaica are about the same as 87.2 or 3 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, that's about the same as 30 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 30 to 31 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperatures on Sunday. As it relates to the dry air map, we can see that the dry air is represented by the key at the bottom. We see the yellows, the oranges, reds. The more intense it gets, the more we go to the right. And we can see that the dry air is plaguing majority of the Atlantic basin, especially right there off the coast of Africa. We have those reds. All of that especially is concerned with the Saharan dust. We can actually see it even better. The Caribbean is very much clear at this time, but we do see the brown colors that represent the Saharan dust across portions of the main development region, especially closest to Africa where we have those darker shades of browns. And that's the forecast for 2 p.m. on Sunday. So Jamaica, the Caribbean should be in the clear still, and we're indeed grateful for that. As it relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, we do see surrounding the island that we have more so we have lighter shades of blues as well as some darker shades of blues, anywhere from 0.5 meter to 1.5 meter wave heights. And that's because the winds are going to be coming in from the east, averaging anywhere from 15 to anywhere from 5 to 15 or even close to 20 knot winds. So it's kind of a good day for fishing or any recreational activities, as long as we're not seeing those yellows that represent 25 knot winds, as you can see by the key on the bottom right. However, we can also see that we have the least amount of winds across sections of some inland areas of some central and western parishes in Jamaica. You know what usually happens, we might have some of that air piling up, maybe some clouds building up, and then we have some isolated afternoon shower activity. Either way, whatever comes off of the sea for tomorrow is definitely going to be entering section of eastern Jamaica at first, so St. Thomas, Portland. So rainfall is definitely possible. And if we actually take a look at the rainfall forecast maps from the Euro and the GFS, where do we see the rainfall? We do see the blues that represent rainfall right there across eastern Jamaica. Who knows, we might get a repeat of what happened today. That rainfall from the east pushing towards the west, more so in the way of overcast skies. Euro has more of the blues that represent rainfall off the east coast of the island, and that's valid for 6 a.m. on Sunday. GFS has more of the blues on land, but majority of it still out to sea. Skipping ahead to about 9 a.m., we see that the Euro is starting to cave to what the GFS was showing. More of those blues affecting sections of eastern Jamaica, so St. Thomas and Portland might get on some isolated shore activity, and maybe some of these clouds might spill into sections of some central and western parishes, bringing overcast skies, who knows. Skipping ahead to about 12 p.m. now, we're starting to see more of those blues that represent rainfall spilling into sections of some central and western parishes in Jamaica. We see all of those blues on the Euro and the GFS, and that's what we like to look for. We like to look for consensus, and we see that both maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing the agreement that there's definitely going to be some rainfall in the forecast. Even by 4 p.m., we see the rainfall is a bit more widespread. Look at those darker shades of blues across portions of the island. Sections of Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Elizabeth might get in on some of that afternoon rainfall. It's definitely going to be a wet afternoon across portion of the island for tomorrow, and the accumulated precipitation forecast maps confirm this, as these maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Sunday. Not saying this is going to be raining from now up all the way up until then, but within the next 24 hours, these are the areas that are going to be picking up the rainfall, and we can see that on the Euro model, most of the rainfall is going to be confined to western Jamaica. And we see those yellows, those gold and even orange colors showing up to 0.42 of an inch of rainfall. Over on the east side near Kingston and St. Andrew, we see up to 0.33 of an inch of rainfall. GFS, slightly different. We do see that most of the rainfall should be to the far east of the island with those yellows. Western Jamaica, basically the same areas that we just saw on the Euro, but we do see that the totals actually 0.29 of an inch of rainfall. Either way, we're definitely going to be in for some amount of rainfall, and we're indeed grateful for that. Alright, so let us take a look at the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see those low-level clouds being pushed from east-west across the Caribbean, Central Caribbean, pushing into the Western Caribbean. You can also see that kind of northeasterly flow across portion of the Leeward and Windward Islands. Definitely brings some amount of isolated rainfall to some areas, and we can see it all even better on the latest Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, if these will load. Yes, so we know the rainfall is represented by the greens, and we do see that even sections of northeastern Puerto Rico are getting in on some amount of isolated showers as we speak. Some rainfall right there off to the east of Antigua and Barbuda, east of Guadeloupe, Montserrat getting in on the action, Martinique. And if we take a look at the Barbados radar, we can see that rainfall even better coming in from the northeast, affecting sections of especially eastern and northern Martinique, sections of St. Lucia, maybe sections of St. Vincent and the Grenadines later on, if they're not already getting it. Sections of Grenada, Tobago definitely getting in on the action as we speak, with those green and blue specks passing over the island. We can also see some of that passing across sections of Barbados as well. If we take a look at the weather view of Doppler radar images, we don't see much taking place right now across the majority of the basin. Colombia, Suriname, Guyana radars quite clear at this time. Sections of Belize might be getting in on some isolated shores if that's not ground clutter, but definitely we see that rainfall right there associated with the front across the waters of the Gulf of Mexico, definitely heading towards western Florida. As relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we do see more in the way of grays across majority of the central and eastern Caribbean that represent normal or average temperatures. We have the above normal temperatures as represented by those yellows, oranges and even reds, stretching all the way from the greater Antilles, western Caribbean, Central America into the Gulf of Mexico, as well as sections of the United States. As relates to the siren dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Sunday, we do see that majority of the United States, the Gulf of Mexico, Caribbean should be in the clear, while all the browns that represent the siren dust should be across sections of the main development region and Africa. Right there we have those darker shades of brown, especially. That's where the most vigorous plume of Saharan dust will be. And we're indeed grateful that us here in the Caribbean will be in the clear for that time. As it relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, both of these maps from the Euro and the JFS are showing Sunday, and we do see that we have more in the way of those lighter shades to darker shades of blue stretching all the way from the eastern to the western Caribbean. And we know all of that is representative of anywhere from 0.5 meter wave heights to 1.5 meter wave heights, and as usual we have the highest waves in the Caribbean to the far south of Jamaica, to the north of Colombia right there, and that's because the winds are usually strongest there. We have those yellows coming in from the east, yellows that represent 25 to 30 knots, while we see majority of the area getting in on some slight blues and greens representing anywhere from 5 to 10 to even 15 or even 20 knots. And we see the general direction across the central Caribbean from the east, western Caribbean from the southeast, eastern Caribbean from the northeast or the east northeast. As it relates to the rainfall forecast, now we're looking for consensus in what both of the major models are showing. Keep in mind that this is the 24-hour forecast, so within the next 24 hours, these are the areas that are going to be receiving rainfall wherever we see the consensus. So definitely sections of the waters of the Gulf of Mexico, if they're not already receiving that rainfall right now, it's definitely going to be coming before this time tomorrow. Sections of Florida, sections of the Bahamas, not to mention sections of Puerto Rico, especially eastern Puerto Rico, the eastern British Virgin Islands, Anguilla, sections of St. Martin getting in on the action. We can also see sections of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Barbados getting in on the action as well. And we can even look down into South America and see where we're going to be getting that rainfall. We see that across sections of French Guyana, sections of southern Venezuela, Colombia, sections of coastal areas of Panama and Costa Rica as usual. We can also see some light rainfall, especially across southern Belize, and even sections of northeastern Honduras getting in on the action as well. I know that when both maps from the Euro and JFS are in consensus like this, the chance of actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.